Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Monday, July 17th. It is 7 a.m. New York time. And we're back at it, sitting on the charts. Welcome in, Venator Trading, 10K to $2 million funding challenge. Good morning, everyone who's already in here. John, Adrian, David, Kenneth, Sunrise, Bioli Mansky, Chase Pips. Good morning, guys. Welcome in. So glad to see you guys here. Hope you had a great weekend. We are trying to take $10,000 in funding to $2 million in funding. And we're hoping to do that by the end of this year. We currently have a $10,000 funded account. We are copying trades off of this account to our phase 2 $10,000 challenge and our phase 1 $100,000 challenge, all purchased with profits off of our first 10K funded account. So we are currently in drawdown. We've been in drawdown for about a week and a half or so, 2 weeks now. So we have not had very many trade setups. We're only using one strategy. If we see a setup that fits that strategy, then we will take it. Otherwise, we're just sitting and watching and waiting, talking about how to deal with our emotions, our psychology, answering questions, doing analysis, and all of those other things that traders do. So glad you guys are here. Hey, Lorenzo, Red Ezekiel, Corey, good morning, buddy. Shafa, good to see you. Ditya. And Adrian says you should create a Discord instead of Twitter and get some merch going. Let's get Venator brand out there. I've thought about it. Oh, I think we're getting close to a size where a Discord might be good for you guys. I don't want to honestly be in a Discord all day, but I schedule my tweets. So I write them all out and I schedule them to go out throughout the day. So I don't even like getting on, unless I'm getting DM messages. I really don't get on Twitter much during the day unless I see somebody tag me or something. But once I'm kind of off the charts, I don't even really look at them anymore till the next day. So, but I do love the community that we're building. I do love the little tribe that we have going on here. And I appreciate you guys being here and watching, and the relationships that we're building around the world with each other. So maybe a Discord is near in the future. So we'll see. I do love the merch idea though. The merch idea I'm down for. I need to create a little, I don't know, little store or something to put in there. We'll see. We'll see. How was your weekend, guys? Mine was good. I did absolutely nothing this weekend. It was a very quiet, lazy weekend. We helped my son move into his house a few last week, and spent some days over there just helping him get set up in that new place and stuff. And so really Saturday laid out by the pool, hung out with some friends. Sunday went to church yesterday, came home, took a nap, grilled out last night. We had a little barbecue, and so it was chill, very chill. So hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope that you didn't just sit on your charts all weekend. That's one of the, you got to take a break. Like, you've got to have time away from the charts. You've got to be able to just get your mind off of this. The more that you, it's kind of one of those things, the more you lock in and focus on it, the more there becomes a point where it's called, what's the definition I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. But it's basically, the law of diminishing returns, right? Okay. My brain's waking up. Sorry. The law of diminishing returns. It just means that you're going to get you keep putting in the same amount of effort, but eventually you're going to start getting less and less, fewer and fewer results from that effort. So I mean, there's just so much work that you can do, and eventually it's gonna start working against you the more time you spend on the charts. So whatever you do on the weekends, you should have at least 24 hours, or you're not focused on this. Focus on yourself, focus on personal development, focus on self discipline, focus on personal growth. But the actual trading side of this, you need to let it go for a good 24 hours on the weekends, at least 24 hours. I don't even look at the charts, I don't open them. When the market close, by the time I leave the charts on Fridays after my trading session, they're closed until I get back on Monday. So, but I hope you guys had a good winter, a good weekend. The giveaway winners were announced on the stream on Friday. Aditya, they were announced on the stream on Friday. We had a great time. That was an awesome stream. Go back and watch it if you didn't get a chance. It was pretty entertaining because we drew names for a couple different people and they weren't in the stream. You had to be on the stream to win live. And we called their names and they weren't here, and so we had to redraw. And then right after we redrew, they showed up in the stream and we had to break the news to them. And it was I felt really bad, but it also was kind of funny. Sunrise says, yes, a Discord, please, to build a community. Good morning, Danny. Yeah, Wimbledon final. Dude, that was a great match. I saw the end of it. I watched the end of it with my wife. She's a huge tennis fan. She grew up playing tennis. I did not, but she loves it. But I watched the whole last set. That dude, that young guy is Alcaraz is just, he's a stud, man. It's crazy. But it was a great match. So, all right. New week. I need to pull up a couple of websites here. I'm going to get my Social Trader Tools website up, make sure all that's working, make sure the copy trader is on and functioning. I want to get out a drawdown this week. That's what I want. It's been a long time seeing those negative numbers in there, and I'm ready for them to go away. Think about maybe I should get a new hat. I've been wearing the white Oakley for a while. Maybe I should switch up my hat selection. It's like athletes, they have like lucky clothes that they wear when they're on a hitting streak. They don't wash like their socks or whatever. They wear the same pair of socks. Maybe I should and when they're in a slump, they'll change stuff up. I'm in a little bit of a slump, like a 3-week drawdown slump here. Maybe the hat should go. If I had a Venator hat, maybe that would be the answer. What am I doing here? Oh yeah. Forex. Let me get my economic calendar up. See what's going on with the news. Let's just take a look here at our, I guess it was already, yeah, it was. All right, here's our news event. Let's just walk through our news. We can check that out here real quick. Today, we've got Empire State Manufacturing Index coming out at 8:30. This is not a news event that I would avoid. This is one that I would trade through if I had an opportunity and there was a trade setup that was viable. Tuesday, we've got some CAD red folder news. It doesn't affect us. We've got core retail sales. That's one that I would wait for those numbers to come out before I traded. What else on Tuesday? That's about it. Wednesday, Pound has its CPI numbers coming out, and so it could be something where Euro also has its final CPI coming out. So that could be something that the market consolidates a little bit today and tomorrow until we get those numbers dropping Wednesday. We'll have to just kind of watch and see, but really no big dollar news on Wednesday. There's some building permits and stuff, but nothing that should be crazy. So Wednesday could be a good day. Thursday, we've got unemployment claims. And then Friday, no real big news left. So not a whole lot of news events, nothing to be super concerned about. We'll have to wait. Retail sales is the only one in here that I would need to wait to pass. Unemployment numbers, yeah. Oh no, that's Aussie. Thursday, unemployment claims. I would need to watch that number on Thursday to pass first. So just a couple days here where we need to be cautious heading in. But for us, not a big deal right now. We're just going to watch and wait. Again, when I come into the markets on Mondays, especially on Mondays, I am typically more cautious than I am aggressive. And I want to, the setups just have to be super clear. I've been off the charts for a couple days. Stuff has happened over the weekend. There's news, there's cultural developments. There's all kinds of stuff that plays into what happens on Monday. And Monday is my least profitable trading day. So because I have those stats, it's not that I won't take a trade on Monday, but I just need to be thoroughly convinced. Not that I shouldn't be on every setup, but on Mondays, I just have an extra degree of caution, I guess, for myself. So, not to say we won't take a trade today. That's just to say that's my natural bent when I get to the markets on Mondays. In fact, if I wasn't doing this live stream, I probably wouldn't even open my charts on Mondays. Tuesday would be the first day that Monday afternoon after the market closed, I would open my charts, see how Monday printed, what was the price action, where did it reach, what does that potentially mean for the rest of the week. So Monday is often just a day where it carves out a range and gives some liquidity, engineers some liquidity for the high or low of the week to be made on Tuesday, perhaps. So all that being said, we're going to do some analysis and see what we see. Jump back over here on the chat just to make sure. Red says only keep the cap if you have a win streak. Yeah, I need to get on a win streak. Oh. Hey Ghost, good morning. Kenneth says MFF and FTMO remove the time limits. Will be the new industry standard soon. Not many firms left that don't have it. I mean, to me, it's kind of already the industry standard, and they're late to the game. That's my opinion. They're late to the game. Good morning, Boris. Welcome in. All right, let's jump up here to our daily time frame. And we're going to take a peek see on the dollar chart here. Again, we've had just a massive move down into this monthly fair value gap. You've had quite a bit of accumulation here. The question is this manipulation, or is this a an aggressive downtrend? We'll know probably in the next week or so, because typically after you see a move like this, like let's just pretend this was a 15-minute time frame, we would be expecting these up close candles to initiate a run into sell side liquidity that then aggressively displaces away after you've grabbed this sell side liquidity. You can see we had a very aggressive quick stab down into this sell side liquidity here. So we're gonna know, I think, probably in the next week or two what the if the dollar wants to continue dropping, or if we're gonna get this aggressive correction here now that we've grabbed all this liquidity. You have a lot of internal imbalances. These imbalances are internal liquidity targets. So all of these gaps, these volume imbalances, these fair value gaps, these volume imbalances, there is a lot of internal liquidity here for the dollar if it wants to go lower, for it to reach back up into. After a big aggressive expansion like this, you often get a little bit of consolidation before it wants to move lower. So it's just hard to say, man. We had such a big down week last week. I would anticipate there being some kind of a short reversal here and a reach back up into some of these areas. So, we'll see. You have a daily breaker here. Basically, these two down close candles initiated this run up to clear out all of the orders and the buy side liquidity. And then we've had an aggressive displacement back through. So you do have, and obviously some fair value gaps. These daily candles right here could be a target for a breaker entry if it wants to come back up. So we'll keep our eye on that as well. But it's obviously very heavy bearish, but you could anticipate it's already taken out Friday's high right here. It's already taken out Friday's high, so hasn't taken out Friday's low. Just gonna need to watch and wait and see. But that's a massive, that was just a crazy move last week. Kind of a little bit is disappointed that we weren't able to find any kind of decent setup in there to take advantage of that. Someone had messaged me and said that there's a new delivery system in Forex. I can't remember the initials of it, Libor or something else. I can't remember, but it was supposed to have popped in July and create quicker, more aggressive moves in the way price is delivered. Well, we definitely saw that. So I don't know how much that played into this massive move, how much it was just news related, how much it was just the dollar trying to grab liquidity, whatever it was. We just did not, with our current system that we use, we didn't find any good setups there to take advantage of that drop. Hey, good morning, Jack. I think it's Libor, Libor, Libr. I can't remember what it was, but it's some new acronym, and it's just how the central banks process money. I think it's it's instantly now, instead of, there's no like delay in the exchange between currencies and central banks. It's just supposed to speed up the process or something. But yeah, it could be. It could just be. Could just be price action, and it was just a crazy rundown. All right, Social Trader Tools. It's up and running. Let's jump and look at Pound. So far overnight, on the pound. Not much going on. We've run sell side, we've run buy side, and we're just kind of back up in the middle here. So we're currently just below the midnight open, and it's opened and just popped around. No real, gosh, sorry, no real movement one way or the other. Hey, Satria, welcome in. Welcome in. There's one of our 10K account winners. I think Shafa's in. I think I saw Shafa in here too. Another 10K account winner. And Ghost. Ghost is here too. All three of them. Welcome in, guys. I know a couple of you have gotten your account information because you DM'd me. So good luck on those challenges. Y'all stay patient, stay disciplined. Take advantage of those challenges, man. It's free. Don't treat it as a lottery ticket. That is a potential life-changing opportunity. So treat it as such. John says, isn't it in a breaker from 713? Yes, technically it is, but I don't trade off. I don't trade typically that far back off. I mean, if you were going to look at this on a 1 hour time frame, there is no breaker there. It did grab liquidity, but there was no swing level that it broke. It's just pulling back into a fair value gap right here on the 4 hour. And I don't like to go back. I like fresh fair value gaps for this strategy. Red Ezekiel, I'll put my stop loss to break even when I am 1.5 R in profit. And that's not like a perfect 1.5 R. Sometimes if there's like a swing level there or some kind of support around 1.5, I will move to break even there. But 1.5 is kind of my just watermark where I will look to move to break even around 1.5. Yeah, 27 people in on the chat. So good morning, guys. Thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate you watching and checking out the stream. Hit that like button for me. I would appreciate it. We had a great stream on Friday. I think there were like 60. I think the high mark was like 65, which is great. I'm super happy about that. The giveaway was obviously the biggest reason we had such a big bump in our number, and that's fine. Totally cool. I'm glad that we were able to help out some of our loyal followers and streamers here and hook you guys up with some accounts. Bespoke is awesome, y'all. If you're considering, I'm not affiliated with them. I do have a link in my YouTube bio that if you use it, I'll get a very small commission off of it. You don't have to use it. But if you're thinking about buying an account with Bespoke, it's there and available. You can still even if you use that link, you can still use any of the discounts they have running right now to lower the costs and the price for you. But they are a great company. I have been thoroughly impressed with just the way they've handled how they handle everything. Their back end, they're upgrading their dashboard. It's about to come out. I've seen some behind the scenes looks at that. It looks awesome. They were one of the very first firms to push no time limits, and they've had a huge impact on the industry already. And they just do things the right way. So highly recommend if you're thinking about trying to get a new challenge. Definitely recommend Bespoke. John says, I'm new to ICT concepts, but doesn't he dog support and resistance? Yes. Well, yes and no. He dogs the way retail looks at support and resistance. Um, he will talk about true support and resistance, and that happens around imbalances, like volume imbalances. It happens around order blocks. It happens around breaker blocks. It happens around fair value gaps. That's what he would call true support and resistance. Like we would expect when price is bearish, we would expect resistance at fair value gaps and order blocks and such, in opposite for support. That's how he talks about it. But when you're just talking about true, like, oh well, look, here's this is where resistance failed. Retail would just be like, oh, here, look at these highs right here. Price is failing to move above. This is resistance. So when it gets up here, let's just sell it the next time it gets up here. And you can see it just runs all those stops. If you had sold right here, and depending on where you put your stop, that's how retail looks at support and resistance in general. I know this is a very broad generalization, so don't at me. But that's not how he would look at it. He would be like, no, true support and resistance is we've had a breakthrough. This is not a retest. When price comes back up into these wicks, it's not a retest. When price comes back up to rebalance this inefficiency and reach up into that order block, that's where true resistance is. So anyway, Shafa says that stream made my day. I hope it did. You won a 10K account, girl. Should have made your day. I don't see any setup today. Dollar still slugging around. Maybe after news later. Yeah, it could be a very slow day. Euro dollar, again, not a whole lot happening here. It's popped up. It's taken out last week's high, made a new high already. So it'd be interesting to see, do we get any kind of displacement down? But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me after such an aggressive week that the market just takes a breather here and gets choppy and consolidated after you have that big move. But it would not surprise me if we get some kind of retracement here after such a big move. Supply and demand zones are similar to support and resistance. So everybody just has their own terminology about how they define it, where they draw their boxes, where they drop their lines. Look, I said in the interview that I did with Bespoke, there are people that are making a killing trading support and resistance lines, trading supply and demand zones, trading moving averages, trading candle patterns, trading market structure, trading Wyckoff, trading SMC. It's not the strategy. It's your ability to execute your trading plan consistently, day in and day out, not being a gambler. That really is one of the biggest reasons why people succeed or fail. Yeah, dude, I had so many people message me saying thank you for the stream on Friday. It was hilarious. The chat was brutal, man. Half of you wanted to be like, no, man, just hold out. Give it to those guys. They deserve it. And the other half of you were like, screw them. They're not here. I want to see my name pop up. Let's go. So, look, I really wanted those guys that lost. I felt bad for them, but rules are rules, and I'm glad we ended up following the rules. They knew the rules before they showed up for the stream, so kind of sucks, but that's what happened. Yes, Red Ezekiel, we look for a market structure shift when we see displacement. That's how we a market structure shift really is what identifies where our breaker is, where our breaker block is. So, like we've grabbed liquidity, all this liquidity above last week's high. It's already been run. So in this instance, where did this run on liquidity begin? Well, it began on, I would say, these down close candles right here. Those are the down close candles I would be looking at to see some kind of displacement through there. They initiated this run on liquidity right there, and we just haven't had any displacement since we ran that liquidity. It showed no desire. There was no energetic move away from that. So there's nothing. But we would have wanted to see an energetic move aggressively back down through these down close candles. Once we saw that, we would look for a fair value gap inside of there to continue down. But yeah, so a market structure shift would help us identify where our breaker is for sure. The YouTube comment winners did claim their accounts. I spoke with them on Twitter, and they were hooked up with Bespoke, and I think both of them did already get their account information. Yes. Do you not consider displacement on 5 minute? Not typically. Not typically. I'll use the 5 minute really just to see if there is a better a better fair value gap inside the larger time frame breaker block. So it can often, sometimes you can just find a cleaner fair value gap on the 5 minute, which will also help you get a little bit of a tighter stop and that allows your 1 to 2 to be smaller, and your trade doesn't have to work as hard to hit your take profit. So how do you choose which swing high or low to use in your charts? Is it the most recent one always? That's a good question. I'm always going to be looking at my like 1 hour and 4 hour and daily. Like if there's those higher time frame point of interests, those swing levels are definitely going to have the most of my attention. But really, I'm just looking on the 15 minute to see where. So with my higher time frame bias, if I'm bullish, then I'm going to be looking for a run on stops to the sell side. That would be a signal that if we get displacement after we run sell side, then that would be a signal we could be continuing in our bullish trend. So for that instance, I would just be looking at, any of these lows. And if you see a good, decent, aggressive stab under an old swing low, any of these, and you get displacement away from it in the direction of your higher time frame bias, then you're on the alert for a possible setup forming. So for me, it's just on the 15-minute time frame, I'm identifying where are the most recent. Where has price engineered liquidity? Well, we have relative equal lows down here. We have relative equal highs up here. Which one of those gets rated, and then where is displacement away from that? Who won that's not here? I think they're all here. Shafa, Ghost, and Satria were the 3 streamers, and they're all here. The other 2 YouTube guys, I don't know if they're here or not. I haven't seen their names pop up ever in our stream here. So maybe they'll show up. Maybe they're in here and they're just watching and not in the chat. I'm not sure. Trader Java was one of them, and I've never seen a Trader Java in here before. And I've never seen. I think what was it, Ali Shahavahand or something like that. I've never seen him here either. Yeah, those three are regulars, and they're here pretty much every day. So I'm grateful they're here, and I'm grateful they won. And I hope that I really hope you guys can use those to get a payout. That would be so freaking awesome. It would be so cool. The stats on traders who get and win giveaway accounts, the numbers of those who don't reach a payout are like 10 times lower than the ones who buy an account. And it's already low on just the people who won. The 90% of people who buy an account don't ever reach a payout. And I think it's like 2 or 3% of those who win a giveaway ever reach a payout. I think it's extremely low, the number of people who win a giveaway and reach a payout. That number is extremely low. They just treat it like a lottery ticket. There's no personal investment. There's no monetary personal investment in it for them. And so they treat it like a complete gambler. It's just a scratch off. They're just like, just full port, let's go. This is a free account. It means nothing. Maybe I'll get lucky and pass on one trade. Let's go look at GJ. We haven't looked at GJ yet here. So here we are on the 4-hour time frame. We have grabbed liquidity. We're reaching down into this order block. Let's see what our daily looks like here. We've had a change of structure. We do have a lot of imbalances down here. Let's see, 1 hour. We ran this liquidity and we've displaced away, so that's nice. So here's the liquidity on the 15-minute time frame. You've got a run on liquidity. You really ran both sides, but after you ran the buy side, you have displaced away. This run on liquidity started with these 3 down close candles. So there would be your breaker block. And then internally, you have this big fair value gap. If I was going to, let's drop down to the 10-minute and the 5, what do we see? 5-minute fair value gap here. There is one right above, there's a couple up a little bit higher. There is a nice one on the 10-minute that lines up inside the middle. This is probably the one I would want to target here. If you look at 50% of the breaker, let me get this down here. There we go. If you look at 50%, you want to, I always try to like to be around 50%. It doesn't have to be exact. I just want to be inside a fair value gap, as close to the 50% as I could. That would be right there. And I would have my stop above the breaker. It's either going to be above the fair value gap, which would be inside the breaker, which I don't like, or just above the breaker itself. So I would probably put it just like right there, and then your 1 to 2.1. Doesn't even have to make a new low, just get back down to that low. So that's probably, if I was looking at this, where I would want to see my entry. What's the 30-minute doing here? Let me get my get that fib off there. 30-minute grab liquidity, displace through. Your fair value gap's right here. 1 hour. Back up into that order block. This is a pretty decent setup right here on GJ. Very interesting setup here on GJ. Pretty clean. I really do kind of like that. We'll see how this 15-minute candle closes here. But I like that. That's a pretty decent setup. Too bad that there were two that won who never come here, because there are some who are always here. Yes, John, I would have preferred to give all of them out on the stream. But Bespoke, when they gave me these 5 to give away, had asked that I give at least 2 away to people who commented on their YouTube video on that interview that they released. And so I was more than happy to agree to that for them. So, but I would have much preferred to give them all to our loyal watchers, our loyal viewers here on the stream. I imagine we will have some more opportunities for that, based on some conversations I had with those guys behind the scenes. So, I mean, it's not going to be like this week or anything, but I imagine there will be some more opportunities that we can work with them in the future. Red Ezekiel asks, when back testing, how many years or months should you go back to test your strategy? So I have this love-hate relationship with back testing. If it's a brand new strategy, you're going to want to get as much information on it as you can. And so, go back a couple years, see how it performs over a couple years to get that information. The problem with back testing is that you can back test and have a 90%, 80%, 70% win rate on your back test. Typically, when you go into the live markets, it's going to be like 15% or 20% win rate, because you just can't replicate your psychology, your emotions. You can't put you are the biggest variable that you cannot account for when you're back testing. And so it's good to help you identify your pattern, and it's good to help you see where and when that setup forms. Like, what time of the day does it typically form? What sessions does it typically form in? What day of the week does it typically form in? Getting some of that information is super helpful. But if you're just trying to develop a brand new system, then getting as much information as you can is super helpful. It's just, it can be pretty dangerous to think that what it can do is build a false certainty in you that you have found your edge. And because let's be honest, when we come to the markets, what we want as traders is certainty. That's what makes us feel comfortable. We're always looking for more certainty. And the only thing the market gives us is uncertainty. And backtesting, we think backtesting will help improve the amount of certainty that we can have when we sit down to trade. And really, all it does is just build a false sense of confidence, because you spend all this time watching candles print and you can click through them so fast. You get impatient in the live market and you can't execute. You can't just move the candles forward super fast. And so your psychology and emotions come into play. You're like, but I've seen this work so many times. And so be careful with backtesting. I mean, you got to do it. It's kind of one of those double-edged swords. You do have to do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't backtest. You should definitely backtest. But you've got to go into it with a grain of salt. You've got to go into it knowing that this could be working against you, and that this is not the answer to making you a profitable trader. It is a tool. It's an important tool that you need to have, because you have to use that information. You need to be able to identify your pattern. You need to be able to use that back testing to answer your trading questions, your criteria on what your setup looks like. But don't get super excited about it when you back test and you have a 70% win rate and you're like, I would have made 52R in July with this system. Or I would have made 18% profit, or whatever it is. Like, don't get super excited about the results you could have had you been using that system, because you're never going to be able to replicate those numbers in the live market. Just use it specifically for identifying your criteria to get into a trade. So just be careful with the back testing. Bioli Mansky says, after I lost my first giveaway 10K account, I developed strict rules for the new ones. I won again, and I practically write out the dollar value of those accounts. So yeah, I'm taking it serious now. Good. That's the way to do it. Shafa, GJ is more bearish than EJ. Yeah, I do kind of like this setup here on GJ. I'm not going to call it just yet. I'm again, like I said, I am super cautious on Mondays. I'm not just ready to jump in, but we may call this in a minute. We'll see. Mohammed, welcome in. Just caught Eurodollar sell and gold sell on my evaluation. Eurodollar entry was 12394. I mean, let's see here. I'm trying to see if there might have been an entry on this grab of liquidity. There is some displacement here. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what system you're trading, Muhammad, but I hope that works out for you, buddy. If it fits your rules and your criteria, then good luck to you. Good morning, Sam. Satri says, Brad, so you copy trading all of your accounts under the master account all at the same time. If you do, when you're in drawdown, this will make all of them in drawdown. Is this a good idea? Please share what you think about this. Yeah, so I just trade my system. And yes, they are all copied at the same time. And yes, they will all be in drawdown at the same time. I just trade my system. And so I know, again, so long term, what I will probably end up doing, just so you all know, long term, once I reach probably $1 million in funding with this challenge, I will probably use some of the accounts and use a lower risk amount on some of the accounts. And there will be times when my funded, I may take a withdrawal on my funded account, and depending on how long it takes them to process that funded account, I may not be able to trade on it. And so I could still trade separately on one of my, I could make one of my phase two challenges master or whatever. But yes, I'm copying all of them. They will all move up and down together. And eventually I will move some of them to a lower risk profile. So like when we get to, like I said, let's say $1 million in funding total, I will use some of the accounts will stay on 2% risk. Some of the accounts I will move to 1% risk, just so that if there ever gets to a point where we get close to losing a challenge or a funded account, we will still have some that will only be half as far in drawdown that we can go back to. But for right now, because we're still very early on in the challenge, um, and if we were to lose this 10K funded account, I'm not super worried about getting another one. So right now we're still so early, it doesn't affect me on watching them all move up and down together. But eventually, like I said, eventually once we have a much higher funded amount that we're working with, I will probably move those some of those accounts into a smaller amount of a risk profile there. Reddit says, I would like to hear your thoughts on the tweet I came across. It states that your edge decays and you're not going to be able to use it in 2 years or more. What do you think? I I would probably disagree with the edge decaying. It's not going to be in the markets all the time. Like we've taken 3 trades in 3 weeks because the setup wasn't there. That doesn't mean that the edge doesn't work. It just means that your setup doesn't always appear. But when it appears, and it's going to work, at least for me, more than 50% of the time, these concepts, ICT has been trading these concepts since 96. So they've been around for 30 plus years already, and they're still profitable. They still work. I don't think your edge decay. The way that I view the market right now, the way I view the way the market moves, it's from liquidity to liquidity. It needs liquidity to move. So it's going to grab liquidity on one side so that it can move in the opposite direction. That's pretty much just how the markets move. So um, I need to take a quick little bathroom break here, guys. So give me just a minute, and then we'll be back. We'll be back on, and we'll look at this GJ trade here. But give me just like a minute. I'll be right back. All right, let me talk through this GJ trade here again, just in my head one more time. So it's really interesting to me. We've had a break of structure here. We displaced through it, which means, and we displaced through that. We've grabbed liquidity on the sell side, and we've changed structure. Price is respecting this higher time frame fair value gap. But hmm. Hmm. I uh I have higher time frame 4 hour makes me feel like this is bullish only because we've already grabbed sell side liquidity. We've run up, we've come back down, we failed to displace and make a new low. We did displace above and make a new higher high. So market structure is currently in an uptrend um, on the 4 hour. So I don't feel, oof, but it does look really good here. It meets all the criteria. Your buy side liquidity gets ran, quick displacement away after you've grabbed that liquidity. Your breaker block, fair value gap. Because I'm torn on this trade, I'm probably just going to sit on the sidelines about it. I'm in conflict because of the higher time frame shift on the 4 hour. It may be a great setup, and if it fits your trade system, then I would say that you need to take it. But for me, again, I've said it from the beginning of the day. Mondays, I'm just super cautious, and if there's any kind of conflict I feel internally, then I just step aside. But I'll leave this up here, and we'll see how it plays out. But I'm going to choose not to participate in this setup right here just yet. The 4 hour time frame is bullish, which is where I like to get a big confluence for me. Is where that higher time frame bias is, and it's currently bullish. So I will just sit here on the sidelines. But let me jump back over here. I know that there was a lot of questions. Welcome in, everybody. If you're just jumping in, it is the 8 o'clock hour. We've got some news coming out at 8:30. Currently, euro dollar is just not doing much. Pound's not doing much. Everything is just kind of consolidating. GJ is moving. There is a potential setup here on the 15-minute time frame. But I am not calling this out. I will leave this up, though, and see just for data. My 4 hour higher time frame shows me that we're making higher highs and higher lows. And so this would be a counter trend trade that I would not be in that. Look at some indices here. US 30 did run some overnight. Did run some buy side liquidity here. We've had displacement away. We obviously last week big move up off of these lows last week, took out the buy side and held right there on US 30. SPX, big push up last week in NAS as well. Topped out on Friday, but very large move for pretty much everything except US 30. So we'll see what happens here in about 30 minutes when the news comes out. There's currently nothing that I would be excited about or be anticipating right now. We've just been in consolidation all the way through. So I'll just jump over here on the chat, see what's going on, see if you guys have any questions. Let me scroll back up here. Muhammad's using the Judas swing. Good. Juan Luis Rivera, how do you copy trades? Do you have a video? I don't have a video on the copy trader, but I use Social Trader Tools. Social Trader Tools is the software that I use, and it's just online. And you just attach your accounts, and then you tell it which one is your master account. In this instance, I'm copying from the 10K live funded account, and I'm copying over to the phase 2 and to the 100K phase 1. So it's they have some videos and talk you through how to set that up. It's not super difficult. Once you attach your accounts, you just create a copier. You set up your master account, and then you tell it you want to copy to, and then you tell it which accounts you want to copy to. And then you just decide what your risk is going to be on when the trades that come in from your master account, how does it need to determine the lot size for each of the other accounts. So we use a lot multiplier. So the 10K account is just copying lot for lot. It's a lot multiplier of 1. So it just copies the trades coming in. Whatever lot size comes in, it just copies it lot for lot. The 100K count is 10 times larger, so it multiplies whatever lot is coming in by 10. But that's the Social Trader Tools is the trade copier I use there. Peter says needed just $82 to pass my phase 1 10K account. Woke, determined to find a trade. Unfortunately, I forced once. I'm currently minus 220. Oh, man. Like you're in drawdown 220? You went from needing $82 to pass to being 220 in drawdown? Oof. We'll look at EJ here in a second. John says basic concepts remain the same, but there's always new ways of doing it. Yep. Hey, Sir Dev, welcome in. Satri is off. She'll hopefully they'll be back. Bullish or bearish about the news event? I'm not anything about the news event. I don't know. The Empire State Manufacturing, I have no idea what it's going to do to anything here. I'm wondering if we get, since we've already grabbed and taken out last week's Friday's high, Friday's high, I'm wondering if we get some displacement lower here on euro dollar, and we could potentially get a run for this sell side liquidity, these relative equal lows down here. If we could get a displacement down through this swing, we can create a nice little gap here. We might be able to, you know, find an opportunity somewhere in here. Something like this. Maybe. Like if you're just, you could even do, you know, something like that. We'll see. We're going to need to see some displacement down through this low, but that could be a potential setup here on euro dollar. Jack says shorting GJ is always sketchy. Yeah, it's been running hard. Like you look at the daily time frame, I mean, obviously big bullish trend. So this area here, after this run up, we've made highs, but now we've broken. We took out these relative equal lows. We have new relative equal lows down here that it left, and you still have some larger daily imbalances here. That's the only reason I could be slightly more bearish here this week, potentially on GJ, is anticipating potentially a little bit of a drawback into these fair value gaps as you're drawing liquidity. But the daily and 4 hours definitely bullish. We ran out these lows and we've moved back up. We're taking out highs. We're displacing above old highs. So that's why I would be cautious here if you're thinking about that GJ short. Good morning, Michael. Looking at EU 15-minute bearish for value gap for a short, but it's Monday, so I'll sit on the sideline and let it show me it's sand for the next couple of days. Yeah, that's the way I kind of approach Mondays, is enjoy watching the markets, enjoy seeing how price delivers. And if you see a trophy buck walk out and you can't avoid it, then take the shot. But otherwise, I come in on Mondays even more neutral typically than any other day of the week. News is coming at 8:30. It's the Empire State Manufacturing numbers. I don't think it shows up on TradingView, but it does show up here. The Empire State Manufacturing is dollar index related, so could get some movement on EU, GU, those kinds of pairs, potentially even on the indices. Probably won't stay on super long today. Probably just for maybe another 45 minutes or so. We'll get through the news here at 8:30. And then I'll probably stay on till right about the 9 o'clock hour. And then I'll probably call it a stream today. Mondays are typically shorter. We're just in here talking through how the weekend went and what we might be able to expect throughout the week based on how the news drops. Rob Casheye, the Stone. Hey, welcome in. When you copy, do you have to be on the same broker on all accounts? No, you can be on different brokers when you copy trade. It helps to be on the same one only because your entry, like the prices don't always, they're not going to be pip for pip. Depending on what broker you use, their spreads are going to be different. It helps to be on the same broker, but you can copy to across any broker. Slippage might be different, all of that. You may not just get as close to the exact same entry because broker information is different. 32 viewers. Man, yeah, we've had some stick around since Friday, so I'm glad to see that. Welcome in, y'all. EU is an old, weak, open gap. Looking for sales. What are your thoughts on trading bull bear flags? I don't really have much thought about them. It is it's a candle pattern that retail uses, and I'm sure there's people that I'm not super, I mean, I understand the concept of the bull bear flag, but I don't trade it. It's not part of my system. So I'm sure there are people that have been profitable with it. But, you know, I don't use it. So I don't have a whole lot of thoughts about it. Shafa, there is a SMT with EJ. GJ failed to go higher. I think it's bearish rather than bullish. Also equal lows below and a fair value gap. Yeah, the GJ trade might indeed work out, but I just there's parts of it for me that just make me want to not jump into call that right there. Peter says I need 220 instead of 82. Oh, so is it a 10K account? You need like another. You were like within 0.8%, and now you're down and you need 0.2, you need a full 2%. Just, yeah, man, just take it slow. Like Michael says, just go slow. Please. Daddy Venator. My Lord. On UJ, can you confirm if there's a breaker on the 1 hour? Oh boy, I don't even know what to say to that. One hour. On the 1 hour time frame, what are we looking at? You've had a run on liquidity, displaced away. You've run buy side liquidity. I mean, if you're looking at this right here, On the 1 hour, not really. I don't see the breaker here on the 1 hour. It ran liquidity here on the buy side on the 1 hour, but you haven't had any kind of energetic move down to displace through anywhere. This is the last potential place that you might think this is a breaker, but I don't see a breaker here on the 1 hour anywhere. If you're talking about this liquidity right here, that these would be your three candles and there's no fair value gap. If you jump down to the 15-minute, you did get a run on liquidity right there and a quick displacement down. That could be a breaker in here. It did come back up into the breaker, into that fair value gap, and then displace again lower. The only breaker I see currently on UJ would be this 15-minute right here. But again, it's not the best. It's already tapped into this fair value gap right here. It tapped into that fair value gap right there on that candle. It displaced through there, reached back up, grabbed it, and then displaced super low. Now it's grabbed all of this liquidity, and it's, after grabbing the sell side, you're getting an aggressive move back up. So just wait until this dollar news drops at 8:30 and see what you get. Michael, is it better to limit order on copiers, or is it market order fine on copiers too? So the way I have mine set up, Michael, is that it's a market order. So I have limit orders on my master account, and when that order gets triggered, it's just a market order on the copiers. You can set it up. The reason I do that, so that if I was copying to other brokers, it's just going to get me in wherever. It's not waiting on a specific limit order, or if that limit order is at a different spot on a different broker because the prices don't specifically align up. That's kind of how I look at that. So you can tell it to copy limit orders, so that when you set a limit order on your master account, it automatically sets a limit order on your copy accounts. I like to do it with the market order, so that if I ever add in accounts that have a different broker, I want to get in when my master account gets in, no matter what the price, no matter what the difference on the price is on the opposite. Jack, I will ban you if you start using that. Do not call me Daddy Venator. Only my kids can call me Daddy Venator. Thoughts on EJ? Thoughts on EJ? Well, we've run liquidity. So you have a very obvious run on liquidity here. You've had a quick and energetic displacement away. You have a fair value gap on the 15-minute. You may be able to find one a little bit lower. 10-minute, yep, that's the one right there. Is there one on the 5? There's even a better one on the 5 right there. It looks like it's already tapped up into it. It could come up a little bit more, but I would probably want to enter probably about right there. Stop above the, let's see, stop above this candle right there. That's just on the 15-minute. That's not taking into account any higher time frame bias. But that's what I see very quickly on EJ. Let's look at the 1 hour here. 4 hour. We've taken out sell side. Again, we're making higher highs. We've displaced above, made a new higher high. You're rejecting off of this fair value gap on the 4 hour. Yeah, kind of the same thing that I'm seeing on GJ, whereas you've run sell side liquidity on higher time frames, and now you're seeing higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So it's a counter trend short trade. You failed to displace and make a new high here on the 1 hour, change of structure, coming back up into this bullish order block. Oof, it's just conflicting information to me on EJ and GJ here. So not that it wouldn't work, but I would be more cautious than anything. You've grabbed sell side liquidity here. You got a quick stab down into the sell side liquidity, and you're getting an energetic move back up after you've grabbed the sell side liquidity, and your higher time frames are bullish. So I would probably think that it's going to displace through this candle, and then I would look to get in with the higher time frame and target these highs up here. But if you guys are in that trade or thinking about taking that trade, just be careful there. The higher time frames are a little bit conflicting with your lower time frame analysis. So there's no rush. It's Monday. There's a lot of other days to trade this week. The market's not going anywhere. And when you have conflicting information, there's just sit on the sideline. There's no rush. There's no reason that you have to get in on anything today. I hope Yasmin's a girl. God, please. I appreciate the joke. It doesn't, I get it. I love jokes. Y'all can joke about it all you want. US 30, there's nothing here for me. It did run a little buy side here. We've displaced down. It just tapped into that buy side, displaced through. Where did this round of liquidity begin? Oof, just not a very, that's your breaker right there. It's not a very clean breaker. There's a little fair value gap up here inside that breaker, which lines up with this little order block, but yeah, I don't see anything, guys, on the charts that makes me want to get excited about seeing a potential setup form. The only thing that I would want to see, I think, is displacement down through this area here, since we've already grabbed this last week's high already. We failed to make a new high. If this can displace lower through this area, this could be a potential short on euro dollar. That's really the only thing that I am kind of interested in currently. The EJ and GJ setups, again, because of the higher time frame conflict that I see, they just when I feel confusion, then I immediately step back and think, why do I feel confusion? What is that emotion in me that I'm feeling? And if I feel confusion, is that the mindset I want to be in to execute a trade? Absolutely not. I don't want to feel any confusion. I know that you can't be 100% certain, but I definitely know my mindset is such that if I feel that Like it's becoming, I've become very sensitive to recognizing emotions that are going on inside of me and trying to talk through why I feel them. So for me, my emotions are telling me I feel the emotion of confusion, like and uncertainty, and I feel the emotion of the knowing I could just be contributing to my continued Monday not being a great day to trade data. And so when I feel all that information, that's why I tell you I'm not even perfect. Like emotions still affect me. But when I feel them, I start to talk myself through why I'm feeling them. Where is that emotion coming from? And can I ignore it? Should I ignore it? Because a lot of times you should ignore them and you should just take the trade because it fits your criteria. But if there's pieces of your criteria for your trading plan, for instance, for me, if the higher time frame bias shows me that we're in a bullish trend and the lower time frame bias or setup is short, that's confusing to me. And as soon as I feel that, I start going, okay, well, did you read the higher time frame analysis correctly? I think I did. Okay, well then, as beautiful as this setup looks, it's okay to let it pass. It's okay to let it go. If there's some confusion inside of you, I want my mindset to be such that I feel clear and confident. If I were to take this trade in a state of mental confusion and it loses, it's only going to, the next time I come to the charts, it's just going to reinforce and build more confusion into the next time I want to take a trade. If I take a trade and I'm super clear on why I'm taking that trade and it loses, I don't care because I know in my mind I was very clear and confident in talking through all of my trading criteria. So I'm not here to gamble. I'm here to execute my trading plan as accurately as I can. And to do that, it means the only thing that I can be certain of is my decision making on whether the trade fits my criteria. So that's why I'm like when I sit here and I'm looking at something and I'm quiet, you can probably guess that I'm feeling some kind of internal conflict about the setup that I see. And as soon as I recognize that in myself, I'm going to just go, cool, let it go. We have tomorrow. Wait until you know and you see very confidently exactly what you want to see. So that's kind of my thought process behind EJ and GJ here. So the news just dropped. Had a small little gap here on euro dollar to the downside, pound to the downside. Dollar is a little bullish reaction here. Let me see what that news was. So, wow, kind of a big miss, actually. So they were coming in. The previous Empire State Manufacturing Index came in at 6.6. They were forecasting a negative 3.5, and it came in at 1.1. So that's quite a big miss on the forecast there for the Empire State Manufacturing. And if you ask me what that is, I have no clue. It's something about manufacturing, which means if they were expecting a decline, they were expecting manufacturing to have dropped, and it didn't, or a significant drop. And it was lower than 6.6, but it wasn't a negative drop. So dollar's having a bullish reaction off of that. Welcome in, guys, to all of the streamer or viewers that are joining us today. If you would hit that like button for me, it does help the stream. This is not a trade that you see on the screen. This is a setup that someone pointed out in the chat, and I've talked through why I don't feel confident about this specific setup, and I am standing on the sidelines watching it. There you can see the EJ position already popping through, which is it's the same as the GJ position, and you could see this is just not a great setup. If you want to trade in line with the higher time frame, it almost makes more sense to me to see displacement through this candle as your breaker. And this was your run on liquidity. And if you get this continued displacement up here, sorry, this would be your breaker block. I'm a colors guy. I need everything to be the right color so that visually I know what I'm looking at as soon as I come to my charts. That's why I'm a stickler about my colors. But if this 15-minute candle closes bullish and then the next one leaves behind a fair value gap, you could potentially have, a long opportunity here to target some of those highs. On the 4-hour, you're in a bullish uptrend. You've had a change of structure. You're displacing and making new highs. You're respecting the higher time frame PD arrays. So for instance, this fair value gap came back down into a discount and now it's displacing higher. And so on the 15-minute, it would make more sense to me for this setup to play out. But again, it's Monday. There's no rush to be in a trade. Similarly on GJ, I would want to see, instead of this setup that we have on the screen currently, I would think that, again, this is your run on liquidity here. You're getting a sharp, energetic move away after you've run liquidity. And this would become your bullish breaker here if it displaces through there. And it's very similar to EJ in that you're in a 4-hour, you've grabbed sell side liquidity, these relative equal lows. And since you've grabbed that, you've had a quick aggressive reaction off of that grab of liquidity. You've made a higher high, you displaced aggressively through this high. You have now come back down, completely rebalanced this fair value gap on a higher time frame, and it's respecting this order block and this fair value gap. So yeah, I would rather trade in line with the higher time frame there. Gosh. How long do you have as a trader and what is your strategy? One, I've been trading for about 4.5 years. I've used this strategy for the last I have a few strategies I use. This is one of the strategies I use. And I've used it for 1.5 years now. Good morning, Beeswax. Do you ever use the same setup and enter a trade twice? Like, let's say you had a clean setup, entered a trade, and then the price returns to your entry point. Would you trade again? No. Once I'm in, and it's either going to hit my stop loss, it's going to hit my take profit, or it's going to let me get to break even. And beyond that, it's nothing. There are no other options. If it didn't reach your entry but went to your take profit and then later retraced. Now, it just depends on where it went before it came back from my entry. If there is liquidity that it left in place. So for instance here, if this was a trade setup and I wanted to see price come back and get in right here, and price runs and hits my take profit, but this is the draw on liquidity, So let's say it hit this, but then it came back and it left this draw on liquidity in place and it came back to my entry, then yes, I would enter. But if it runs my draw on liquidity, even though it, like, let's say it blows through my take profit and it blows through where my draw on liquidity is, then I would cancel the order. Yasmin, it's supposed to be a joke, guys. Come on. Anyway, that's the same breaker I'm looking at. Thank you, Grandpa Venator. Dude, I am closer to being probably your grandpa than I am your daddy. I know in real life, I'm way closer to being a grandpa than I am a daddy. I'm done with the daddy stage. I mean, you're always a dad. You never stop being a dad, no matter how old your kids are. But as far as babies go or kids go, I'm closer to being a grandpa. So you can call me Pops. That's fine. And I get the joke. I'm not offended. I'm not grossed out. It was funny. You can crack jokes in here all the time. I'm good with jokes. Dang good thing I closed my trade early. I really don't want to trade news anymore. Yeah. Currently in a buy on GJ. I mean, if you're trading the higher time frame, this was actually a really nice entry on GJ on a 4-hour time frame. If you had targeted this fair value gap inside this order block, that's a really nice entry on GJ, but it's not this specific breaker strategy. So I do think I would rather be long here on EJ or GJ. You're getting obvious displacement here on EJ here right now. There's your breaker. It's moving pretty hard and fast, and it looks like it wants to run that liquidity pretty aggressively. So you may not get an entry or a possible entry. Cisco says, do you ever look at, say, Aussie, New Zealand, or Swiss, or just stick to mainly pound, euro, dollar, yen? Yeah, I don't really look at the Aussie, New Zealand dollar, or Swiss. I will, if there's a chart you want me to look at, I'm happy to analyze it. And while we're just on the stream, I don't trade them. I stick to euro dollar, pound dollar, and the indexes. US 30 is the one I focus on most. I will occasionally, on my other strategies, I will trade the S&P and the NAS. But yeah. We were watching gold for a while, but I broke up with it. At least for right now. We just weren't seeing eye to eye. And GJ is a good replacement for gold. It has a lot of the same volatility, and it's not correlated to the dollar as strongly. So when the dollar is consolidating, we might be able to find a move on GJ. My gosh, I cannot stop clearing my throat. The more I drink, like, I love drinking my coffee. And the longer it sits here after I get here in the mornings, the colder it gets. And I'm really starting to enjoy the cold brew. Like, it's only hot for a little while. Like, we've been on the stream for almost 2 hours, and I was here with it for at least 30 or 40 minutes before the stream went. So I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying the cold coffee. Cisco says, recently felt the same with gold. Been bullish for a while, but it kept falling. I left and now it goes up. John's analogy for gold is probably my favorite, so I'll let him fill you in on his gold analogy. Focused on success in and out on gold, solarly and tanked beautifully. Pound showing some weakness here. Euro not displacing. Dollar showing some strength. Grab some sell side. Is it gonna? I mean, obviously, this is kind of your most current draw on liquidity for the dollar. It's above this high here. But Euro is not showing the same desire to go. This would be the correlated high on the dollar, this low on Euro. And the Euro is just not showing really any desire there to drop. Pound is. All right, I'm going to give it about another 15 minutes here. And then we'll probably be getting off the stream. Cold coffee is horrible. I mean, if I'm gonna drink coffee, I think my preference is that it's hot. It's definitely a hot drink. Hot coffee. But I am enjoying more and more, especially the longer these streams go, the cold coffee. Here he is. Gold is like that strip club on the other side of town. Bras always tell you the crazy times that they have there, but whenever you show up, you leave with a lighter wallet and less self-respect. It's a pretty good analogy for gold. You only ever hear the amazing things other people do with gold, and then every time you try to get involved with it, it just beats the crap out of you. Great analogy. I love it, John. Pretty accurate, and it's why I'm on a little timeout. I'm on a little timeout with gold. So on EJ here, I do not trade EJ, but if you are an EJ trader, you're going to want to see this 15-minute candle not run all this liquidity. You would rather see this 15-minute candle kind of drop in here, maybe leave a small little wick, just whatever. And then as that 9 o'clock hour opens, drop back down, rebalance, hit this breaker block, and then run that liquidity. I would have preferred this big candle not have been so large. I would have preferred it to come up into here and then move. Hey, good morning, love. Come the pups. Got to do their morning duty. Poop joke. Good job, huh? Way to go. Yeah. When 2 or 3 setups appear at the same time, do you usually choose only one or do you trade all of them? If I get 2 or 3 trade setups, I'll set limit orders for both. And then whichever one gets triggered first, I will cancel the other. But you have to remember to cancel the other one if one gets triggered first. Hey, buddy. Good morning. I don't know if you can. There he is. There's Remy the Golden Doodle. Hey, buddy. All right. Probably hear him panting. Pound is showing a lot of weakness here. If I were looking at where the pound might provide an opportunity, this run on liquidity started down here. These down close candles ran liquidity here. Now we're finally getting displacement. So there's not a real clear, I mean, it's a huge breaker block, number one, which isn't ideal for me. And also there's a volume imbalance inside there. I would want to be in somewhere up in here. And there's just that little fair value gap in here on the 5-minute. It tapped into it. Just not super clean. I was really wanting to see, and we're starting to see a little bit here. I would really prefer to see the euro dollar displace down. Shava says I might take gold off my chart soon. PD arrays not respected. Even if respected, they reach them, go up, and then down, or vice versa. That's why I got to get off of gold. it just whips. It does nothing, and then you get a crazy move, and then you get a crazy move in the opposite direction. And it might be something that if I come back to gold, I only stay on like a 4-hour chart. But those lower time frames are just getting blasted through. No, they don't shed a lot. They're super cute. They're golden doodles. So I have a white golden doodle and a brown golden doodle. We had golden retrievers before we got them, and God, the hair that the golden retriever drops. Awesome dog. I love golden retrievers. Grew up with them as a kid. That's why we had them. But they just drop so much hair. We were sweeping and vacuuming multiple times a day, and it would just never, you could never get control of all the hair with the golden retrievers. So when they passed old age and, that, we decided we were not going to do shedding pets anymore because we were tired of the hair. And so we got the golden doodle is a golden retriever mixed with a standard poodle, designer dog, whatever you want to call it. But they are awesome. I love them. Their temperaments are fantastic, and they They probably do shed just a little bit, but I mean, basically not at all. We have to groom them. Their hair grows and doesn't fall out, so you have to go get it cut, or they just get huge, long, shaggy hair. So you have to cut them down about every 6 weeks or so, 8 weeks. But no, they don't really shed that much, and I love them. They're awesome. Looks like the EU trade would have worked out. Yeah, that fair value gap right up into there would have been nice. It's pulling back now, back up into that volume imbalance, the gap that it left off of that news. Has tapped into that buy side liquidity and is pulled back off of that. GJ is still climbing. EJ still climbing. So again, now you can understand why higher time frame analysis is so important when you're talking about setups on lower time frames. You want to trade in line with the higher time frame bias. You can have a beautiful looking setup on the lower time frames, but it's the higher time frames that really you want to be on the right side of the higher time frame move. And that's why that's why I did avoid calling out those trades and taking that, because they just were going against the higher time frame narrative there. Man, 47 viewers right now. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys stuck around after last Friday's giveaway. Glad you guys are here and welcome into the stream. I do appreciate you guys being here and checking this out. I hope it's valuable for you. I hope it's helpful for you, talking through what professional traders do when they sit down to trade. They don't come into the market and Monday morning and open their charts and start clicking buttons. They are patient, extremely patient. They know they have all week. My goal this week is not to hit a certain percentage profit. It's not to hit a certain percentage gain. My goal this week is to execute my trading plan when I see it show up on my charts. The profits and the profit and loss and the percentage gains, those will all come if I will just focus on executing my trading plan. I have no goal. My only goal is to execute my trading plan. That's it. I'm not trying to make X number of dollars per day or X percentage per day or per week. It's just watch the market, wait for your setup, execute it when you see it. And that's, I hope, what you guys are getting from all of this. Peter says, can we look at pound CAD? Sure, I'll pull that up in a second. Mama has to go. Have a good one, Shafa. We'll see you tomorrow. 3 pit bulls. Oof. I've been around some cool pit bulls before, but I've also been around a lot that scare the living crap out of me. Oh, and we have 3 golden retrievers in our family. I can definitely relate to the vacuuming, but we love them all the same. 2 years old each. Dude, I love golden retrievers. They're so cool. They really are. Just great family pets. They are so loyal and compliant and fun, and they're easily trained. They're just cool dogs. But the hair it was just too much. The golden doodles, you get the best of the golden retriever, like temperament side of things, but without all the hair. That's why we went with that. Mauricio, cheers from Argentina. Hey, Argentina in the house. I think this is our first Argentinian. I guess that's how you say that. Welcome in, Mauricio. Glad you're here. Hope you find it helpful, and hope you'll stick around and hang out with us. Yignesh Rindani, sir, great take on challenge and good mentoring on how and why and how much to wait. Cash is also a position. Appreciate the sharing. Absolutely. The best position that you can take is almost always not in a position. Sitting on your cash and protecting your account is oftentimes the wisest thing to do. So, for instance, here, EJ has taken out the buy side liquidity. So, if you were interested in taking a long here, this is an instance where I would be like, nope, no trade for me. It's ran too hard, too fast, and I would not be interested in that. So, that's a no-go on EJ. GJ still has some buy-side liquidity it can reach for. So, this could be a potential long opportunity here on GJ. Back inside. Let's see if there's something here. Candle that created the fair value gaps down there. And 1 to 2.1 is way up there, which is inside that buy side. That could be a potential setup there on GJ, but we'll just watch. Good job, Focus. Glad you made 4%. That's awesome. That's a huge day. Mr. Alfie, my first time here after seeing your interview on the Bespoke channel, finding great relief in hearing your thought process and realizing you have the same doubts as me. Thanks. I had a black lab until we lost him at the end of March. Oh, man. It's 14. Dude, they are part of the family. They're fur babies, man. They are part of the family. They are definitely members of the family system. And you lose them, it is a punch in the gut. There is a relationship to grieve when you lose a family pet like that. So, man, I've been in that position and I know what you're feeling. So, sorry for your loss. Man, welcome into the stream, Mr. Alfie. Glad you're here, and I'm glad that the interview is helpful for you. And I hope that you'll stick around. We're here every day. Does trade copier work even if the account is an MT4? Yes, it will copy between MT4 and MT5. Is there a trade copier for free for 2 accounts? Not that I know of. Dollar took out buy side and fell over. Yeah, it grabbed out buy side and is not looking very strong. I'm going to be on the sidelines today, guys. I promise you there's nothing in here that I see that makes me feel confident. And it's Monday, and it's going to just be what Mondays are. And I'm content with just watching candles print on Monday and seeing how the market starts to move after the weekend. It's starting to breathe again. It's kind of waking up. And there's no reason to try to force a position or force a trade. So this is the cleanest setup I see on GJ, and I'm not calling this trade, but this is the cleanest setup I see that fits our system. But it's not. I just don't. If I feel the internal conflict inside of me, I'm gonna just step on the sidelines. Too many times in the past, I would just be trying to get into a trade, and I would feel that conflict, and I would just try to fight through it. And more times than not, I would pay the price. And I'm not willing to do that anymore. I'm not going back to that old version of myself. So Aditya says, can I copy trades between 2 different prop firms? Technically you can, but you need to be very clear with those prop firms about some of them allow copy trading only if their account is the master account. Some of them don't allow copy trading where you're copying from a different prop firm onto their account. Some of them won't let you do that. So You just need to make sure you're very clear about what their trade copying rules are before you consider doing something like that. SPX, yeah, I'll do SPX real quick, and then I'm gonna get off the stream here. SPX, 4-hour time frame. We're in a bullish trend. On the daily, where are we? Just taking out this old swing high here last week. Just as the end of that week, we took that out. We're obviously in a very bullish uptrend right now. You have a big expansion up. You have some imbalances that price may want to reach back down into, some volume imbalances and fair value gaps. You can see when price displaces up and leaves behind imbalances, it wants to come back and reach into that internal liquidity before it reaches for a new high. Again, displacement up, it leaves behind these imbalances. What's it want to do? It comes back, it reaches down into some of these imbalances before it makes a new high. So what can we expect if we're going to continue the trend? You would expect and anticipate there being some kind, just like you see every time you see displacement up, pullback, displacement up, pullback. Sometimes they're not as deep, but often they're going to give you decent sized pullbacks. So it wouldn't surprise me if this week you get a little bit, just some kind of dip, at least back down into here or potentially into the low of Thursday's low there. But we'll watch and wait. That's my higher time frame bias. On the lower time frame, not a whole lot to see. It did run this buy side liquidity here, displaced through. It's currently back up inside these fair value gaps. This is your breaker here. These two down close candles. You're going to want to see price respect this 15-minute order block and this fair value gap. But I don't really see anything that fits my system here that I would want to be involved in. So that's about it. All right, guys, I'm going to call a stream here today. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button before you get out of here. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, happy hunting, and we'll see you back on the stream tomorrow at 7 a.m. New York time. We'll catch you later.